In life's journey, we must seek to reflect, learn, and grow. Welcome to the Road to Rediscovery with your host, Aubrey Johnson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Road to Rediscovery. I'm your host, Aubrey Johnson. The Road to Rediscovery is about reflecting on life's lessons to learn and grow from them and to take it to the next level and help others who are struggling through dark times. My special guest is the founder of Her Nexx Chapter, a women's engagement organization driven to deliver an impactful experience in supporting empowerment and transformation. Now, I've had the pleasure of having two great speakers on the show, Nita Jawed and Dr. Katherine Jackson, who have presented in past conferences for this fine organization. We're going to learn more about some awesome changes to this already amazing platform, all in the spirit of enhancing the community experience for women. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the Her Nexx Chapter founder herself, Lady Chap. Lady Chap, how are you today? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I'm excited and to speak to everyone and share my little story.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, absolutely. And we reciprocate. We are just thrilled to have you, in the time from your busy schedule just to sit and chat with us and to impart some insight that'll resonate with the listeners for sure. So, if we can just start for the listeners' benefit, if you can briefly explain like the mission and purpose of Her Nexx Chapter and how long the organization has been into existence and your inspiration behind launching it.
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question. um, where should I start? Well, the existence of Her Nexx Chapter is going on 5 years from conception.
Okay.
I say we are a nonprofit organization.
Mhm.
And this was a vision that was put into my spirit back in 2010, to be honest. But like a lot of others, you get some type of vision or desire to do something in your life, and you put it off, and you allow life and circumstances to get in the way to prevent you from getting to your purpose.
Right.
And that's why it took so long to launch it in 2016.
Gotcha.
Of November. And I kept having this vision and kept being nudged to move forward with it. And finally, one day I woke up and my spirit said, "Your excuses have expired. It's time to get up and move."
Wow, that is profound. Your excuses have expired. That speaks volumes. It really speaks volumes. And so it sounds like, behind that voice and the calling that you felt in your heart, there must have been some life circumstances that kind of driven you in that direction to launch.
Absolutely.
Okay.
For one, I was feeling lost and empty. I like to blame menopause. But I kept saying, I just feel like I don't have a purpose. I feel like I'm just existing. And I kept praying on that. And then again, as you are praying, you get what you are desiring for, especially if it's serving a purpose in your life and in God's will. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
And so I kept saying, well, I don't have this, I don't have that. And finally, I just said, let's just do it. And the message that came to my heart is that the women will come and all the resources will come. All you have to do is just move forward. And I launched it, interesting enough, on my birthday in November. And I invited about 8 ladies who thought they were coming to the brunch to celebrate me, to only realize that I was going to be celebrating them as a woman.
Yes.
And so I had a positive quote on each one of their seats and a bouquet of flowers. And at that time, it was just a concept. And so I was sharing, what I was feeling and what I was going through as a woman, to only find out that there were other women who were feeling the same way in my own circle.
Yes.
And they just needed an opportunity to be transparent and open up the door so that they can speak comfortably and understand that, wow, I'm not by myself. I'm not crazy. Other women are feeling the same way in my age group as well.
Yes.
And that was like the push that I needed to move forward with her next chapter.
I see. I see. Beautiful. Now, I know there's so many different types of workshops and conferences and events and so forth that her next chapter has, and we are definitely going to unpack those. But there was something that you mentioned about a minute ago regarding feeling lost
Mm-hmm.
and feeling like as if you don't have a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so one facet of her next chapter is not just the website but a blog, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a lot of great contributors on that blog.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes, yes. But I've read an entry from you, Lady Chap. I read an entry from you, and it touched on it kind of referred to what you were just talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just not feeling as if you don't have purpose. And this is an entry that you in where you reference the freedom of openness. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to paraphrase, if you don't mind, Lady Chap.
Yeah.
But in this, you mentioned like you said something to the effect of, we see and feel the world's anger, frustration, loneliness, and helplessness. But when things feel as if they are falling apart from beneath you, which are mental and emotional reactions, stop and think, could this be a test or the
Mm-hmm.
shifting of your course for healing? I
Mm-hmm.
found that to be very impactful. It resonated with me. It was very profound, and I have a feeling in my heart of hearts. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I have a feeling in my heart of hearts that this was actual lived words based off your journey and your
Mm-hmm.
experience and
Yeah,
what
and
you've lived through. Is that right?
several chapters.
Oh, amazing.
And
Amazing.
you know, and a lot of women or people have asked me, why did you first of all, naming the organization Her Next Chapter, but I spell it with a double X.
Yes.
And I've had people ask me, well, why did you spell next with the double X? And I said,
Hmm.
because there's so many women that I can relate to that feel like they are being X out of society because
Oh.
of age, because of gender,
Hmm.
because of, you know, their nationality. Um, so that is why her next chapter, and just
I
encouraging
see.
women to put a comma
Yeah. Yeah.
and continue their story. They don't have to stop and pause and
Okay.
just exist. They can
Right.
continue the journey, and that's really tough. And
Hmm.
it seemed like this last year it's been tougher, but it can be tough. And that's
Yes.
why it's so important to be connected to a community. Before I started her next chapter, I didn't have a tribe. I didn't
Mm.
have a community.
Hmm.
I didn't have a strong group. I have few, don't get me wrong. I do have
Right.
some very close friends,
Sure.
but on a different level,
Hmm. Hmm.
that can travel a journey with me, or I can travel a journey with them. And we have a common interest, a common situation, a common desire in our
Yes.
lives.
Yes. Oh, I believe that 110%. It is tried and tested and very true, um, because you know there's a lot of things you guys have in common within your groups, you know, and so many relatable conversations that you have. And when someone's down, because life isn't perfect, okay, we'll have ups and downs in how we feel. We'll have ups and downs in our
Mhm,
circumstances, but you have each other in a tribe, in a community to lift each
mhm,
other up for when
mhm.
someone's down. That's to me, that's the beauty of having the extraordinary community that you do have, Lady Chap.
And it's what's really interesting that took me by surprise. When I
Hmm.
started her next chapter, I
Hmm.
really was focusing on the baby boomers because that's who I am.
Yeah.
And as we started building this platform, what was interesting was that we were having so many millennials and even younger generation, you know, gravitating towards us. And I thought that was kind of odd. I'm like, when I was their
Right.
age, I didn't want to hang around with anyone my age. But I realized that these women were missing what the baby boomers had in their lives, the grandmothers on the porch
Yes.
talking
Yes.
about life, teaching them
Yes.
about history.
Yes.
Life is so busy now. And so they're craving for that mentorship.
Yes.
And so her next chapter is really operated and moving forward because of that generation. And we're
Gotcha.
holding on. The baby boomers is holding on to their coattail. We are where we are because of Generation X, millennials, and the generation beneath them.
Right. Right.
And we're just adding that baby boomer generation, just adding and feeding into their spirit, but they're the one that's taking it on the road and expanding it to the growth that it's going to be.
I see. I see. So, while you mentioned this, the millennials and the generation after that, they're looking for something that they didn't have, like the baby boomers had,
Mhm.
grandmother and
Right.
so forth. So, and while that fulfills them, among other things, would it be safe to say that uh, this age group and this demographic maybe also brings fresh perspectives and viewpoints and mindsets to the
Oh,
organization?
most definitely.
Okay. Okay. No,
I
that's
remember
great.
hearing a woman in a hair shop telling her daughter,
Hmm.
just don't let me be dated.
Right.
you know,
I
keep
like
me
that. Yeah.
fresh, keep me current.
Yep.
And that's what this group of ladies do for us. Her next chapter, I remember also one of someone telling me when I first launched her next chapter that
Mhm.
how it looks today is going to look totally different 2 years from now. And that
Right.
was in 2016.
Mm.
And she mentioned to me, she said, so just embrace it and allow it to evolve the way it's supposed to be. And
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what it's doing. And
Mm.
so much so, since we went virtual and we have been building a virtual platform since 2019, before the pandemic.
Right. Right.
That was
Right.
already on our radar. But
Uh-huh.
I realized that we have like 10 different divisions in the organization. Everything is operated virtual. But what her next chapter has allowed is for young women to come on this platform and play in our background, play in our background, our play
The
space.
sandbox.
Yeah,
Yes.
sandbox, play in our sandbox.
Uh-huh.
And they're coming in to a platform. They're learning how to manage. They're learning how to run a division. They're learning
Hmm.
how to implement, project manage,
Hmm.
be creative, and share
Hmm.
their voice. And
Wow.
take this experience because they are volunteering. And I tell the volunteers all the time,
Right.
I don't want you to just put on your resume, I volunteer for her next chapter. You should be saying, her next chapter got from A to Z because of me implementing, because of what you did,
Hmm.
how you did it,
Hmm.
your creativity,
Hmm.
your passion, your experience, your education.
Yes.
And I tell them, unlike the average corporation, I tell them there is no such thing as a mistake. There's just a better way of doing things.
Right.
And so I want them to be free to blossom. And it's exciting to see these young women come in and they're just dedicating and helping to grow themselves as a volunteer, but getting
Mhm.
those skill sets, but also growing as a person. And
Right.
that has been so fulfilling for me because when I started this organization, it became my obligation
Mhm.
to make sure that I make an impact on women's lives.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely extraordinary. Very enlightening, especially to me. Very enlightening, Lady Chap, because we talk a lot about empowerment, positive mindset, just being transparent and having the strength to be vulnerable in certain situations. And we talk about having a positive outlook on life and all these things, right? But not only are you touching on those areas to uplift women, but you're also touching on methods, approaches, strategies
Mhm.
towards professional development, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean,
Yeah,
it's phenomenal.
yeah,
And I've seen women come in one way and just
hmm,
blossom in a whole different area,
beautiful.
and
Yeah,
that in itself is empowering. There's a lot of awesome women organization that empower women, and
hmm,
have the seminars and the rah, but I want them to come in and leave different than the way they did come in. And
Yes.
feel like whatever their time that they invest in her next chapter, we're adding just as much value to them as they are adding to us. And
Gotcha.
the interesting thing is I set out this journey because I wanted to empower and inspire women to only realize that these same women have inspired and empowered me, and also has helped me to grow in areas. And it's been a great journey. It really, really has.
Wow, for sure. I mean, it's reciprocal, right? It's
Yes.
cyclical. I mean, you've inspired them and they've inspired you. To me, it's like energy gives energy, right?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, completely. A complete holistic forum is her next chapter. I love it. It's beautiful. And speaking of her next chapter, I understand this organization dreams big, and can and when it comes to continued growth and improvement,
Mhm.
um, we want to dream big, and that's what this organization does. So in addition to this, though, and I think you kind of alluded to it with the pandemic and 2019 going virtual, were there any other changes in the world or changes in uh, the climate, workforce, or any part or any facet of the world uh, that there were some changes that kind of help drive the need from a business sense to pivot in the direction that you're moving?
Yeah, well, interesting enough, when we started planning the virtual platform, which was,
Hmm.
like I said, was in 2019,
Hmm.
and we align ourselves with other sister alignments, so we
Yes.
don't just organically grow our own audience. We extend ourselves to other grassroots organizations that can use our services and our resources, to offer to their audience as well.
Yes.
And when we were approaching, sponsors and sister alignment and
Hmm.
other platforms, they were like, virtual? Can't seem to wrap my brain around it. Okay, let's see how that works out. Well, of course, when the pandemic hit, everybody was doing it.
That's
You didn't
right.
have a
That's right.
choice. Whether you like it or not, you were going to learn to embrace the virtual, space where we're at today.
Totally.
And
Yes.
so all of a sudden, we were very distinct and can,
Hmm.
present ourselves being different than anyone else. And then
Yes.
all of a sudden, we were just blending in.
Mm.
And there was not really any difference between us and other organizations because
Hmm.
everybody was doing virtual. But what was great about that was it helped us to take a step back and do a reset and refresh.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
And so we restructured our organization
Hmm.
to accommodate a vision that we had 5 years ago or 4 years ago, but the resources or the platform wasn't there to accommodate our vision, because I'm a very vision person. Sometimes I'm far into the future and I
Ah, I
think
see.
way outside the box.
Yes. Yes.
So we were trying to piecemeal our organization for the vision that we had.
Gotcha.
And then uh, we found, not, I can't even take the credit for it.
Hmm.
Angie Graham's our vice president of the organization, had found a platform that would accommodate everything that we have been working towards. And so it was
Wow.
just a matter of like moving into a new house. It was set up. All we had to do is move
Right.
in our furniture, which is our ideas, our concept, our
Hmm.
vision, and our resources. And
Hmm.
so that is a turning point for her next chapter, because it really brings the community together. And these women are so much embracing, and the content that we have and the resources and the events and activities add so much value on so many different levels.
Yes. Yes. So for the existing members or the women who have been on this platform before the refresh, I guess it'll be pretty clear to them what's changed, what's the same,
Oh,
and that
yes,
sort of
it's
thing.
much more clearer. They can
Okay.
definitely see the vision. And mind
Okay.
you, we're very diverse, we're
Hmm.
melting pot. We have women on our platform in 10 different countries outside the US.
Yes.
And we have, you know, a strong presence for Asian, Middle Eastern women, American, Black, white, Hispanic, you know, just every flavor in the, or every color in the coloring box.
Wow.
And that was our vision. That was our vision. And our age group is, you know, from young to middle age and older, you know, and so we're bridging that gap. And what was interesting with this new platform is to hear someone says, "Oh, I'm inviting my mother," and then another person said, "Oh, I've invited my daughters." You know, that tells me that the content speaks to everyone in every age.
Yes. Yes. Multi-generational. Yeah.
Very much so.
Wow, man, that is extraordinary. It really is. And what you mentioned about the about I had it, then I lost it. It was a point I was trying to make. But I love how much clarity you mentioned about the platform for the existing members. They'll know how to navigate through it. And, you know, there's a lot more programs delivered in a different modality and that type of thing.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
It's based on topics.
Okay.
So we have it broken down into topics of women's interests. They can follow those topics. And those particular topics, let's just say like a book club, all the way to parenting or business financing, entrepreneur, you name it.
Yes.
Those particular topics also host events with certified coaches and advisors to, you know, facilitate those events. And we do fun things too. So it's not all about just self-development, even though that's the driving force, but we will have trivial games to concerts and, you know, just girlfriend night. So we do, you know, and it's kind of addicting because once you get into the community, you keep going back because you don't want to miss anything. You know, it can be movie night on Friday. It's just, but at the same time, speaking to issues that women address every day and being in a community with women that have that are on that same journey or understand. And what I love about it is that I can be on the same journey or have the same type of situation here in Texas, and there can be someone in Europe that is going through the same journey as I am, and we're connecting.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And that brings me to a question I wanted to ask you as an example of the fellowship that you have and the community. You mentioned things going on in the world and being able to talk and have these conversations within the community about these things that we're actively a part of, right? So over the past 15 months, or really, if you look at it, maybe the past 5-6 years, there's been a lot of social injustice, and then a lot of just really, really very bad treatment of certain demographics, the Asian Islander, Pacific Islander group, as well as African Americans, you know. And so in a lot of cases, these can hit home to people of our color or people of a different ethnicity, you know. It could hit home, whether it's directly with our family or not. It's something that we hear in the news that's happening to someone who looks like me. And so were there times, and are there times that you know, the community comes together to address those and have those conversations? Like you said, it's a very diverse community you have.
Well, good point. With her next chapter, I will say we stay neutral.
Okay.
Don't get into politics. We don't get into, you know, race or religion.
Okay.
But what we have added to our platform is diversity inclusion, which addresses your statement there, but on a different level. Because we do have a large, diverse community, not only is it important for women's voices to be heard, we can come across with a larger volume if we do it in a group, as opposed to individually or segregated by groups. So the only way we can do that is if we understand each other's culture and where they're from and who they are. And then we can collaborate together to be even stronger. Yes. So yes, we do have a community on our platform called, diversity inclusion, also to make sure that we are getting the right content that speaks to them. Yes. When I, being a Black woman myself, I am drawn to information and images, and that I want to see someone that looks like me, and speaks my language and can speak to me. Right. And so, everything, I'm very cautious about that. That we're addressing that, and those women, when we're speaking to those women's spirits based on who they are and where they come from.
Gotcha. And there's a theme that went through my head as you were explaining this, and thank you for that explanation. And the theme is service. Okay. And I may not be picking up on the right signals, but service in my heart is what I felt and what reverberated within me as you were explaining this, Lady Chap. And so with that, I wanted to ask you, what role has service, or let's say service to others, has played and maybe even continues to play in the further development of her next chapter?
I would say nurturing, and mentoring is a service, nice. And providing a safe space, because you can't just jump on our platform. You have to be invited, and you have to be approved to get in. It's almost set up like a Facebook, but on a whole different level, where we are choosing the content as a group, what we want to see, what we want to speak about. And we want to make sure that women have a voice, and that they're being heard. So that's the service. And I think for me, when I first dived into her next chapter, it was putting the platform together so that we can serve externally, serve externally. But then I realized throughout the journey, within the last 2 years, I had to make sure I was making an impact internally on the volunteers, which we have close to 100 now, before I can be impactful externally. And so it filters down. It starts from the top. And, they say the fish stinks from the head, from the top, it's going to filter down.
Right.
So it's important that, we are mentoring, we're speaking into these ladies' lives, and that they are passing that on. Yes. Especially our leadership, who are, working with their individual committees. Right. And I always say, we have to add value, because Anthony Robbins said, what I learned from him many years ago, is that if you add value to others, they will automatically give you value. And I got to tell you, these women that are building this organization, because I'm only the messenger. Okay. It is not about me. All I did was bring the vision, and your vision is nothing unless you have the right people, the right tribe to execute it. Yes. And these women put so much time and have invested so much of themselves into this organization. My husband said, "Are you sure you're not paying them?" Because I've never seen so many women
committed,
so
right?
dedicated and committed, because they have a personal interest, and this is their community. This is their community, and they are evolving it and growing it and developing this community the way they want it to be. Right. So it's the organization is set up where you manage up, you manage down, you manage across. Right. And it's not what I say, it's what we are doing that's best for the organization. And I'm hoping my people ask me all the time, what's your long-term goal? I'm hoping to build a legacy. I'm hoping that we're building a legacy that's going to be passed on. And after I'm gone and some of the other co-founders are gone, we just pass the baton. And,
Yes.
these ladies just keep it moving forward, and they'll be talking about us in history.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, her next chapter, I could see down the line having a wall of fame, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, and these
I
are all
hope
the
so.
dignitaries, who were among the initial cabinet, the initial group.
And we've come to where we feel, and I've noticed that recently. I don't know if it's just because of the pandemic. The pandemic has really changed my humbleness, and I see things different, or taking the time to slow down and see things differently. And the women that I work with, we feel obligated. We feel obligated to this organization. We're not being paid.
Yes.
It's not for a personal agenda. It's just meeting the obligation that we committed to do at the beginning, which is to serve women and to make sure that they're being taken care of.
100%, 100%. And like you mentioned before, you being the messenger and having the vision and sharing the vision with those amazing ladies. One key thing that, again, that I felt in my heart was when it comes to value is buy-in, right? You had to get their buy-in on it. And so they realized the value that you were bringing in your vision, in not how it benefits you, but how it benefits women.
Yes.
And so based on that value that they picked up on in how you shared your vision, you got the buy-in. And then with the buy-in comes the commitment, the work, as if you're paying them.
And I am just honored, to be. I am blessed. I have never been around so many amazing women in a group that I'm connected to in my entire life. And I tell them all the time, I'm just happy to be sitting at the table with you ladies.
Yeah. No.
Because the mentorship, all of our departments are being directed and managed by professional women.
Yep.
And they're mentoring the volunteers.
Yes.
So we have an internship program available, which is also a plus. And we're setting up an apprentice program. And my desire there is to help women on the apprentice side that need or wanting or have the desire to move away from welfare, but they need some job experience.
Gotcha.
And I would love to bring them in and say, okay, here, run this department. And we are enterprise. We operate like a real enterprise. We hold meetings. We make decisions together. We project manage all the moving parts. I mean, it is very organized and very well ran because of the women that are on the platform.
I love it. Well structured too. I love it.
Very well.
That is awesome, Lady Chap. So how can the listeners learn more about you, connect with you, and learn more about the great work of Her Next Chapter?
Well, the best way to connect to me is to join the community, which is free. Awesome. And you can go to our website, which is hernextchapter.org, and just join and explore and enjoy your community and get involved. Share content if you like. And participate in the activities and the events. Yes. And if you want to take it to another level, we're always looking for certified coaches and advisors to help facilitate our events and workshops. That's our second phase, is the workshops, live workshops. And then if you just want to get some experience and help enhance your skills and be mentored by these amazing women. I mean, over our marketing department, this woman is just amazing, Crystal Tan, and she's out of UK. She operates out of the UK, and she runs our marketing team. And then we have an editorial department, and so an analytical department, and
right.
just all these different departments where you can tap into and enhance and develop in.
That's wonderful. Wow. Yeah, such diversity and again, a virtual environment, and you have people working from all different parts of the globe. That is
And
awesome.
we are, you know, what I learned about the millennial, unlike the baby boomers,
Uh-huh.
millennials, they have, I love them because I believe I'm a millennial trapped in a baby boomer's body.
Okay.
But they have like these hidden talents. They don't just come out and share them. You have to like discover them.
Right,
You know,
right.
they'll just take orders and they'll just, you know, and that's
Mhm.
the part I don't like. And so we kind of force them to think and voice their opinion, you
Yes.
know, because if not, we're we're going to be defeated as a culture if we're not
Right.
voicing our opinion, rather
Right.
whoever we're voicing it to, like it or not.
Yeah.
And that it's okay to agree to disagree. So
Mhm.
sometimes we have to pull it out of them, you know, like,
Mhm.
and before I make a decision, I try to make a cautious effort to say, okay, so what do you think?
Right.
Even though I think I know the answer.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
tell them all the time, I'm not original on anything. I'm very good at taking someone else's great idea to the next level. So let me hear what you think.
Right, right. No, no, you're right. But yeah, I mean, just empowering and encouraging them to, bring their thoughts to the table, bring their opinions, their perspectives to the table, because that's where we as a community will grow, right? I mean,
Yes.
otherwise we just stick to the same old opinions, the same old mindset, the same old perspectives, and we're looking for fresh perspectives. So
And that's
that's
the only way you as an organization can grow. And that
absolutely.
also that also demonstrates good leadership, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
So I feel like they boss me around all the time.
I think there's a new term these days called servant leadership, right? Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Lady Chap, this has been a wonderful conversation. I have thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I really, really appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. And thank you for coming. So now we're going to go into a segment I like to call Three for the Road. And in Three for the Road, this is where I ask my guests three thought provoking yet random questions and
Okay.
I challenge them to answer in 5 words or less. So what do you say, Lady Chap? You think you're up for it?
Oh gosh. Okay. I'll give it a go.
All right, here we go. That's awesome. Now, by the way, my questions are not cookie cutter. Okay. I don't
Okay.
ask the same questions to every guest.
Okay.
These questions are customized based off my guest's expertise and
Okay.
background. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. Question number one for Three for the Road. I'm going to give you a scenario.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Lady Chap, you have just become the queen of the world, but you can only impose one law. What would it be?
Equality for women.
Love it. 3 words, two to spare. Equality for women. Fantastic. I love that. I can dig that. And question number two, and this one should be pretty easy. It's a fill in the blank. The Her Next Chapter community is.
Or organization for all women all over the world.
Oh, love it. An organization for all women all over the world.
Or community for women all over the world.
A community for women all over the world. Love it. Love it. And that really brings it home. Okay, for number three, topping us off for Three for the Road. If you were able to gather the entire Her Next Chapter community to one physical place for a conference and retreat, where would that place be?
Tropical, by a beach.
Like the Caribbean or something?
Yes, I am rejuvenate. I'm a fish out of water. I rejuvenate around ocean. So yes, and
Oh.
that's our desire. We've been talking about that for 3 years.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Well, the group and the community will get there without a doubt. Especially, hopefully, we're on getting close to being on the other side of this pandemic, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree. Well, Lady Chap, that does it for 3 for the Road. I think you did great.
Thank you. You made it easy.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. And by the way, we will have direct links to your website, Lady Chap,
Yes.
in the episode show notes, so that people can directly link to your website from the podcast and learn more about her next chapter. And for those who are life coaches and want to be among the community of extraordinary women, then they'll know exactly where to go.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Oh, no. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And you're very welcome. In fact, if we can stay in touch, I would love to have you back on the show, maybe a few months down
Oh,
the line, and just
yes,
update the listeners on, anything new that's happening with her next chapter by then.
most definitely. Yes, I would
Okay. Oh, fantastic. Then, yeah, we will for sure do that. We will for sure do that. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in and listening. And a very gentle reminder, I want you to save the date. Save the date for July 7th. Sorry, scratch that. Check that. July 1st. July 1st is the official date of the Road to Rediscovery Roadmap online course. If you're on a quest for personal development, this course offers an introspective approach using the 4 cornerstones to personal growth. For more information, just visit roadtorediscovery.com/course. That's road, the number 2, rediscovery.com/course. And also, if you have a loved one or you know someone who seems to be just drowning in despair, having just dark days, struggle after struggle. They seem to be at the end of their rope. They seem to have nowhere to turn and no direction to go. I humbly ask that you please share this show with them, because on the
Yeah.
road to rediscovery, we want everyone to know 2 things. Number 1, you're not alone, never
Mhm.
alone. And number 2, there is always hope,
Mhm.
always hope.
Yeah.
The road to rediscovery, it's a movement, a revolution. And guess what? You are now part of it. We're all roadies on this journey of life, and it sure feels good having you on the road with me. Thanks again for listening. We'll chat again soon.
The Road to Rediscovery is an AJ Shark production.